Welcome into Good Day After the Show, streaming exclusively on WTOL 11+. Thank you so much for downloading today. I have a very special guest with me, Fred Lefebvre of WSBD.
Thank you.
You have had an incredible career here.
I think so.
Yeah, you think so. Originally from Michigan, but
Right.
You've been down here
45 years. I moved down here in 1980. I was in Salina, Ohio, near Grand Lake for a couple of years before that. But I've spent more time here in Toledo than, well, really any place else. Because I moved to Ohio when I would have been probably around 21, 22, something like that.
Yeah. Getting your start in the business.
That's where I started. I went to Specs Howard School of Broadcast Arts.
Oh, yes.
Up in Detroit. Got my degree. Well, I call it a degree. It was basically a license to go ahead and be on the air. Found my first job down in Salina. Spent a couple years there. Did a little bit of everything. Sales, production, a show in the evening where I played country music. Actually did the news on some of the original cable stations that were there at the time when cable was just getting started. And then moved up here when somebody said, you know, you can do all of that up here for more money. So that's what I did.
Easy decision.
Yeah,
easy
decision.
So that's kind of wild because you were like, cable was just getting started.
All right.
What's funny about that now is we've kind of gone full circle almost on cable.
Pretty much.
People are cutting cords and all of that. So you have seen a whole lot.
I've gone from when I used to be the remote control for my dad, to pulling everything off the stream, which is where a lot of people see stuff now, which is a lot of reasons some of the late night shows aren't doing well, because you're watching their bits now on YouTube and online. So you don't need to stay up at 11:30 at night to watch. So that's where we have an advantage because we're live and local right now, you know, 9 o'clock. I'm live and local every morning. 6 to 9. And if you want it live and you want it local, then you've got to listen to these two things.
Yeah, and that gives you a really great platform to be able to talk about some really important things. Now, on Good Day, we say fun, local, positive. You joke, we're not exactly fun, local, positive, but you're local.
I'm fun, and I'm local.
There you go.
Because one of the things you have to do if you're doing news talk is you still have to be entertaining. I can't go on and just do doom and gloom all day. I mean, you know, this morning, Charlie Kirk, 9/11, the kids in Colorado being killed. You have to be able to present all of that in a way that isn't necessarily entertaining because you don't want people to laugh at it, but is compelling. And then in between all of those things, you have to include some fun segments
Lift them up a little bit.
Yeah, it's got to be a little bit of both.
Yeah, so you've been doing talk radio, though, for how many years?
I would say more than 15 because what we did on KISS FM with the Breakfast Club was essentially talk radio, although it wasn't all political because we didn't play any music. We got to the point where Denny, Tricia, myself, and Susie were all just talking about our lives at the time and what was going on in the world. So it wasn't really a music show like you expect now.
Well, but I think morning shows on the radio are there's really not a whole lot of music there. But what do you like the talk part of it, or what was your favorite? Do you have like a favorite part, or probably pieces of both?
The years that we spent doing the Breakfast Club were just a blast because we had 4 different personalities, right? I was already a dad, so I was raising my kids. Tricia didn't have any kids, but had kids while she was doing the show. Susie wasn't even in the dating pool until she found someone while we were on the show, and Denny was already married but didn't have any kids. So it was like a Seinfeld show, kind of.
For sure.
It was 4 different perspectives on everything. We're like, I love that. But when that show ended, and I came over to the talk side, I found that I'm in charge now. I do my own producing. I do everything. The show is, we have rules on the show. Rule number 8, my name's on the show. I'll do what I want. And I haven't had any blowback from the company. So that's good because they trust me to do exactly what I'm supposed to do, which is give my opinion on what's going on every day.
Yeah. And so you enjoy doing that.
I love it. And the fact that, and kind of like what you did here today and what you do every day when you bring in the local charities and things, there has to be an outlet for those places. And I have that outlet. So yesterday, actually, we talked about mental health with a woman that's bringing in a seminar in a couple of weeks. We've had the folks from Polka Fest, come on and talk about that. We've had the people from Toledo Buffalo Soldiers come in. whenever a charity has an opportunity to come on the show, kind of like what you do here, we let them on to talk about what it is they're doing. Habitat for Humanity, the program, I know Tremaine's been on the show with you guys before.
Oh, yes, the
all of those things. People need to know, and your show and my show are some of the only outlets, that there are people out there doing things in the community.
And I love that you feel that way about it too, because that's exactly how I feel about it, and why Good Day is so special to me, is bringing this to the community, because so many times people don't know.
No, like the segment you did this morning on the Habitat for Humanity and the Women Build. A lot of people don't understand. Oh, why don't those people have a house? Oh, why don't they, have a bed?
Right.
There are groups out there who are doing that work. And if they just know that there are, maybe that's going to be the impetus for them to say, yeah, I could do that. I'm going to call and get involved in that. Or I can't give the time, but I sure would like to donate to that group.
Yeah. So it's important to get those local places out there. Buffalo Soldiers is one that you mentioned, and one that is near and dear to you. You've been with them now, you said, what, 7 years?
I think 7 years for me. The group's been around much longer than that. And like I say, we do anti-bullying, gun safety, what to do when stopped by the police, which is a really important class for kids, emergency preparedness, which we do both for kids and for senior groups, and the history of the original Buffalo Soldiers formed after the Civil War. So we're out there doing a lot of stuff.
And I think this is great, because as you just get online, Google Buffalo Soldiers, and I think your mind will go, whoa.
Oh, you'll see the history. It's
incredible. Really is. And but then projects, now how many decades, hundreds of years later, when you look at what you're still doing in the community, just in a little different way, it's still making a huge impact.
And so many of the members are either ex-law enforcement or ex-military. And law enforcement people would tell you this, and military people would tell you this. There's a sense of service that you get when you do that. And when your service ends, you still have that in your heart. You still want to get out and make your community better. You still want to serve in some way, shape, or form. And so that's why all the Buffalo Soldier MC clubs all across the country, very involved in their communities, feeding people, clothing people, all those kind of events.
Yeah, let's mention that too, because Veterans Day, November 11th, Buffalo Soldiers delivers
we
meals to vets.
We partner with about 20 different restaurants locally, and we can always use more. In fact, we just added, I talked to Dina Villa over at El Tipico restaurant, the Mexican restaurant. Dina's going to prepare some taco meals for us, and we will go out and deliver meals to the veterans who are shut in, who can't get out to a restaurant to get the free dessert or the $10 off or whatever it is. And if you just go to ToledoBuffaloSoldiers.org, you can sign up for that. Let us know where you're at. We do a lot of the senior homes, because there's 4 or 5, veterans there. We talked to one veteran one year who was 100 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, 100 years old and still kicking.
Yeah.
And he was just, some of these guys just want to talk.
Yeah.
They just want to talk. They don't even care about the meal.
Sure.
Spend some time with me, and that camaraderie that comes with it.
Which is great that you're able to do that for them too. So if you know a vet who needs a meal on Veterans Day, make sure you get connected with the Buffalo Soldiers, and make sure that they can take advantage of that, because all these places, they might offer all of this, but what good is it if
that's the thing. That's like you do. That's why I like to have those people on, because there are people offering services that maybe you haven't heard of yet. So you watch this show, you watch Good Day, and you go, oh, she just had that Habitat for Humanity. I might like to give them a call and get hooked up with that. Or the 419 Music Fest. I'm not doing anything next week. Let's go out, make a donation. Here's some good local bands.
Yeah, so lots of great things happening in our community, and I think that is what's great about, even through some of the doom and gloom, being able to highlight some of the really great things that are.
Now I don't shy on my show, and your show is positive, as we pointed out a number of times. I don't shy away from the bad things, the misuse of tax dollars and things like that, but I balance it with all of the good stuff that's happening too. And that's what you have to do. You have to keep that balance.
Like you said, the people don't want to listen to all the bad stuff all the time.
Exactly.
But it is good to talk about those important topics as well. So, okay, great. Well, I want to play a little game.
Let's do it.
You ready to play a game? Okay, we're going to take a quick break.
Is there money involved?
No.
Okay.
I had to think about it for a while.
All right.
We'll be right back. Stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us here on Good Day After the Show, streaming exclusively on WTLL 11+. Fred Lefebvre here is my guest. You co-hosted Good Day with me.
I had fun. Thank you very much for asking me.
It was great for you to come out and do that. We had a good time. I want to play a little game though. This was something that I didn't get a chance to do on Good Day.
Let's go.
I just like to play a little this or that so we can get to know you a little bit better.
It's not truth or dare.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I would. Although that could be fun too.
We're not doing
truth or dare. Okay, so how about this? Morning drive or late night talk?
Oh, morning drive.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Interviews or monologues?
You know, I like both, but I really like doing interviews.
Yeah.
And I have a rule. I told you I got a bunch of rules. I have a rule for my interview. Don't send me questions ahead of time.
Well, I have that rule too.
And don't ask me what I'm going to ask you.
What are you going to ask me?
Because I would rather sit and listen to what you have to say. You might say something and I go, oh, well, I got to ask about that. But if I'm looking at a sheet, how did you write this book? How long did it take you? Then I'm not paying attention to what you have to say.
I'm with you. I have the same rules.
Yeah, it's a good rule.
Sorry, I'm not telling you. I don't know what I'm going to ask you. It depends on what you say, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
People ask me, how long am I going to be on? And I tell them the truth. If you're good, you'll be on for 2 segments. If you suck, when I say we're going to the weather, we're done.
So a little indication, right? Yeah. All right. So do you like call-in guests or in-studio guests?
In studio, absolutely. And I tell them,
That's gotta be a little
I need
easier,
you in
right?
studio so I can look at your eyes and see if you're lying.
Yeah, that's got to be.
Yeah.
He's truth.
So I'm honest with my guests.
Yes, yes. Politics or pop culture?
Politics, yeah.
So
I
did you
keep
do
up
a
on
lot-
pop culture,
Yeah.
but, you know, TV and movies and things like that. But our audience is a little bit older,
Yeah.
they skew a little bit older, so they don't care what Kanye and his wife are doing. And they're not really, and they're sick of hearing about Taylor, so I don't do any Taylor Swift.
No Taylor
news.
Swift.
No.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Serious debates or lighthearted banter?
Wow.
That's tough, right?
I'll go with the lighthearted banter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you would have said
On
serious
air,
debate.
on air, I'd go with the lighthearted
Okay,
banter.
all right. So, all right. Do you ask the tough question or do you land the funny punchline?
No, I go with the tough question.
Tough question.
Yeah, in fact, and a lot of those people won't come back on the air because I don't give any slack.
Yeah.
If I think they're lying, I'll call them out on it. So,
Yeah.
no, that's a bumper sticker answer, and I want you just to answer this question that I'm
Yeah.
asking. It's a yes or no question.
Yes or no question.
It's a yes
I
or
know.
no
How many
question.
times do
Yeah.
we not get answers
See,
to yes or no
politicians know that I only, and you too,
Yeah.
in the format of your show,
Yeah.
you only have so much time. So they know if they start off by saying, that's a really good question, that in their head they're thinking, how can I dance
my way out of
until
this.
he has to hit the news break?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know to a degree, but then you have to hold them accountable,
Yeah.
right? Do you prep everything or do you wing it live?
I do a lot of prep.
Yeah.
Every evening I spend about 3 hours
Wow.
prepping with local news,
Yeah.
international news, newspapers, any site I can get to.
Yeah.
So that I'm ready.
Your
And it goes
topics
back
for
to
the
what
next
we
day.
talked about earlier,
Yeah.
that if nothing works, if the equipment doesn't work, I need to be ready to talk
You
for
gotta
3
do it.
hours.
Yeah.
If only the microphone works. So I have to
You
have
gotta
all
stay
of
up
that
to
stuff.
date.
Yeah.
All right. Dead air, nightmare, or creative pause?
Well, after today, and anybody who listened to my show this morning knows that having everything in the cloud, dead air
It's a
is
nightmare.
just a nightmare
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Even when in the old days in radio,
Yeah.
if you had dead air for even 30 seconds, in the old studio we actually had an alarm, like a klaxon.
Oh, yeah.
That would go off to let you know. Yeah, I hate dead air. I hate dead
I don't like dead air either. Studio lights on or dimmed?
I have them on, almost as bright as what you have
Oh, you
in
do?
the studio.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's some just for fun questions here. We talked about this earlier, the first radio station you worked at.
Yep, that was WKKI in Salina, Ohio. It was above, like a lot of old radio stations back in the day, above a music store.
Oh, fun.
And owned by a local guy.
Okay.
And in fact, at the end of my tenure there, after 2 years, I owned a piece of that and a piece of a station in Winchester, Indiana, before I moved up here.
Yeah, now what? Just a handful of companies really own.
There's a handful of companies. Some of the little places like that are still owned by local guys. But if you're in Toledo or
Yeah.
any of the upper echelon markets, it's a big company that owns you.
Yep, for sure. Dream guest, living or dead?
Well, I talked to Trump, So that would have been one of the dream guests.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk to Stevie Wonder because I've seen him in concert just a ton of times, and I'd love to just sit down and talk with him. Or Paul McCartney and not ask him any of the questions that he gets asked every single time.
Because you know that he's got to be like, rolling his eyes. Go-to warm-up song before going on air?
I don't have one of those, but every Thursday I use Steely Dan music as my bumper music for Bill Robison, who used to own Great Lake Sound. And Bill passed away a couple of years ago. Steely Dan was his favorite band. So every Thursday, all my bumper music is for Bill Robison.
That's cool.
So I figure he's up there listening. You know, they always say our broadcast signals go up into space. So I'm hoping that he'll hear those.
He can hear it, yeah. Favorite snack or drink in the studio?
Diet Pepsi, but we're not allowed to have anything in the studio.
He doesn't have anything.
There's nothing in the studio. There's no coffee, there's no diet, there's nothing in the studio. It's in the other room. Yeah,
because you don't want to spill anything on the equipment. Do you remember funniest caller story? Do you have something that stands out?
Actually, almost every day I get some guy who calls in, Rudy, who just rants and raves for, you know, and he thinks I know him. Get up, Dad. I know Rudy. I'll call again about this. And he rants and raves for a couple of minutes, and that's pretty much it.
And that's it.
That's pretty much it.
Rudy, put down the phone.
We all have a Rudy.
We all have, yes. I can attest to that, too. If your career had a tagline, what would it be?
Wow. I think I'd have to go back to rule number 8. His name's on the show. He does what he wants.
He does what he wants.
Yeah.
Boom. If your talk show were a TV show, what would the title be?
Wow, that's a tough one. Train wreck.
I don't think so.
Train wreck. Okay. A lot of people would disagree with you. I'd go with train wreck.
So here is the last question. One question you wish someone would ask you on the air.
That's tough because I've been asked, you know, how I got started and what I enjoy and all of those kind of things. And I don't know that there is a question that I haven't answered already. I mean, after 45 years, people have pretty much asked me everything. So, that's it. My favorite color, my favorite food, you know, some of the questions you just asked. Blue. Blue. All right.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad I wore blue today. Actually, I lied. I have one more question for you, but we're going to ask it after the break, so stay with us. Welcome back to Good Day After the show, streaming exclusively on WTOL 11+. Wrapping things up here with my guest, Fred Lefebvre, WSPD News Talk 1370. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Or which order does it go?
It's 1370 WSPD and now 92.9 FM.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to make sure you get that in there. 6 to 9.
6 to 9 every Monday through Friday. You can also find me on Facebook just as Fred Lefebvre. Because that's my real name. I never switched to a radio name.
You didn't, yeah.
No.
Just make sure you spell it right because it's a little different.
Here's how you spell it. L-E, capital F-E, B as in boy, V as in Victor, R-E.
There you go.
The B is silent.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I have to be.
You do certainly are.
I had T-shirts made that actually said that.
That's funny.
Fred Lefebvre, the B is silent, but I don't have to be.
But I don't have to be, and he's not, because you talk for a living, right?
Absolutely.
So you said you prep a lot, you read,
I do.
You stay in tune with things. That means you probably consume a lot of media.
Yep.
What are you, and I ask everybody this on this show, what are you watching, reading, listening to that you would recommend to our viewers?
My daughter bought me a couple of really good books by an author. I think it's J.A. Jance, and she writes detective novels, but she uses Native American detectives out of New Mexico and Nevada as the protagonists. Really, really good.
Okay, cool.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
On TV, I'm a big fan of Reacher.
Okay.
I love Wednesday, all right, and that was just on last night. Dexter, this last season was really good. And I didn't think I was going to enjoy the new Star Trek. But my wife said, well, just let's watch it. I'll catch you up. It's been on for a couple of seasons. I'll get you caught up to this season. It's really good. And I really like,
Did you like
the Next
the original
Generation,
stuff and all that? Yeah.
The Next Generation and some of the other ones. This one is really good. Well done. The production values, you know, compared to what the original Star Trek
Trouble with
looked like.
Tribbles and all that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a difference.
So it's at least interesting to look at. You know.
And I like stuff like that. She watches a lot of what we refer to as murder porn. So that's all those
like
investigative.
True crime and
yes, investigative. You know, the husband kills wife, wife kills husband.
Yeah.
Broken families. They have a different name for every one of them,
Yes.
but it's all the same. It's all murder porn. It worries me sometimes, but
you know what though? She's not the only woman out there watching this. It's it's very popular.
Yes, I know.
Good stuff. I think we have a couple of family photos though that we didn't show earlier because we didn't mention this. There's 9 siblings.
9 kids.
9 kids in the family, and your mom remembered the names to all of you.
Yes, and my dad. They never had that thing where they went, Larry, Fred. They never had that problem. And like I said, there were probably about 6 of us in the house most times. So dinner was always a giant pot of whatever it was going to be. And a celebration would be, at that point, in the 50s, early 60s, White Castle.
Ooh, White Castle.
Yeah, because they were 15 cents back then. So Dad would go out and bring home 3 gigantic bags of White Castle.
White Castle. So those are really good.
Yeah,
I haven't had a White
those
Castle.
Were awesome. Those and the fries.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. And this was when you were being mischievous in the principal's office, huh?
I wasn't mischievous. I was taking a picture for the yearbook, Sanctus, which is a Latin name, because I went to a school called All Saints Catholic High School in Detroit. So they needed a picture for the yearbooks. I said, well, let's do this, because I was student council president.
Ah, that doesn't surprise me. Student council president.
It surprised me.
You're like, you want me to
actually,
do what?
it surprised the nun. She wanted the other guy to win. And she was very upset. And after the election, she came over in a really snarky way and said, I just want you to know, you only won by 1 vote, Mr. Lefebvre. And you weren't my choice.
Sorry.
Yikes.
So did you do anything great and exciting for the school?
No, I promised a bunch of stuff, but none of it got done.
Well, most politicians do that, right? Yeah.
That's right. That's where I got my lesson in politics.
Campaign promises there. That's good stuff. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time to sit with me.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the invitation.
It's great for having.
I had a blast.
We will see you again on Good Day. I know whether it's another co-host gig or for the Buffalo Soldiers, whatever it is that you guys are doing, that we want to get out there.
This isn't my first time either.
No, it's not.
Many, many years ago, about 30 years ago, when you guys were doing a morning show before CBS Morning went on, I can't remember, Dave, who used to do the weather here so many years ago, I sat in with Dave Carlson and did the morning show for about a week when the person who normally sat in with him had to go in for a foot operation or something. And that was before I was doing my own morning show, so I was able to come in here. I actually had to learn how to put on makeup.
Yeah. Hey, we didn't make you put on any today.
No,
you're good.
not today. This is just my natural beauty.
Oh, natural. Thanks again so much. And thank you for downloading WTOL 11 Plus. Make sure you tell your friends, because you'll see exclusive content here that you can't see anywhere else. Thanks again for watching Good Day after the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everybody.